my spouse thought he could sneak his mistress into our bedroom, unaware that her husband and I were already there, poised to confront the deceivers. I'm Alina, and for years, my life ran like clockwork, everything orderly, predictable. Daniel and I lived in a peaceful suburb of Toledo, where the biggest drama was a neighbor forgetting to mow their lawn. Our marriage was calm, understated, no grand gestures, just steady routine. At that point in my life, routine felt sufficient, or so I convinced myself. Then it hit me. I hadn't done anything for myself in ages. No new hobbies, no spark. I felt like I was standing still, watching life pass by. One day, walking by a local gym, a modest place with a sign that read, "Work out at your rhythm. Take charge." I stepped inside on impulse. Maybe physical activity would quiet my restless mind. The early days were awkward, blaring music, intimidating equipment, and an overly cheerful trainer. But I stuck with it, going a few times a week, then nearly daily. It wasn't about loving fitness. It was about feeling alive, moving forward when everything else felt stagnant. One Tuesday, after a grueling workout, I met Sophia. She popped up, grumbling about the gym's stuffy air and poor fans, like we were in on a secret joke. I chuckled, she grinned, and just like that, we clicked. Sophia was vibrant, magnetic. Her quick wit and playful sarcasm pulled me in. We became workout buddies, then confidants. Our bond felt effortless, like reconnecting with a long-lost friend. Soon, we were hanging out beyond the gym, strolling to a nearby park, lingering on benches to chat. It was organic, unplanned. Before long, we texted daily. She shared stories of her youth in Cleveland, her overprotective parents, and jobs she quit out of boredom. I opened up about my predictable days, my home, my unchanging life. She listened intently, as if every word mattered. Our friendship blossomed. Soon, Sophia was a regular at my house. One day, she dropped by with a new yoga mat, teasing that mine was begging for retirement. Another time, she swung by to grab a forgotten jacket and stayed for coffee. Daniel met her during one of these visits. He greeted her warmly, as he did everyone, and went about his business. Nothing seemed off. Daniel stayed his usual self, polite, composed. He'd chat with Sophia if he got home early, joining us for casual conversations. I saw no red flags. He was my husband, she was my friend. They coexisted easily, like pieces of a familiar puzzle, but subtle shifts started creeping in. Daniel was always around when Sophia was over. If she was in the dining room, he'd grab a snack. If we were in the living room, he'd suddenly need to check the TV, even if he'd already watched the news. It was subtle, never pushy, but consistent. Meanwhile, Sophia invited me to her place more often, a stylish apartment with abstract art and a great city view. We'd cook, listen to retro music, or watch cheesy rom-coms she'd mock mercilessly. It was a blast. Away from Daniel's presence, our friendship deepened, or so I thought. One moment stuck with me, though I brushed it off at the time. At her place, Sophia asked if Daniel was always so reserved. The question felt odd, intrusive. I said he'd always been that way. She smirked, saying, "He seems like the type who only shows what he wants you to see." Then she switched topics, like it was nothing. Little things like that kept happening, small, disconnected. Like when Sophia showed up at our house when I wasn't there, but Daniel was. Once, I came home early from an errand and found her on our porch, sipping tea with him. She said she'd stopped by to see me, assuming I'd be back soon. She laughed it off. It was fine, but it felt off. Another time, during a group chat, Sophia teased Daniel with a bold joke. "Bet you couldn't handle a week with me." He grinned and said, "I'd probably crash and burn." They laughed. I forced a smile. The exchange lingered in my mind. Trust is fragile, and once it cracks, it doesn't break loudly. It just distorts everything. The turning point came one morning in the kitchen. I was slicing apples. Sophia was scrolling on her phone, eating yogurt. Out of nowhere, she said, "I needed a break last weekend, so I booked a suite at a resort outside town, hot tubs, the works. Stress was killing me, you know," she laughed, but it was sharp, almost mocking. "Sounds fancy," I said, keeping my tone even. "Yeah, it was unique," she replied, locking eyes with me. Her gaze held something unspoken, like she was testing me. She quickly changed the subject, but her words stuck. The amusement wasn't about the resort, it was something else. That afternoon, Sophia left with her usual wave and a quip about traffic. I tried to shake off the unease, but it clung to me. A seed of doubt had taken root. Daniel came home that evening, claiming he'd been in Columbus for work meetings. He looked drained, as usual, offering no details. He never shared much, and I never pried until that day. I noticed his boots, caked with rural dirt, not city grime. No trace of the stale office scent he usually carried after long meeting days. That night, while he showered, I checked his travel bag, left unzipped in the corner. Inside were wrinkled shirts, a notebook, and a crumpled receipt from a resort, the same one Sophia had mentioned, a boutique place 45 minutes from Toledo, known for its luxury spa. The dates matched her getaway and his supposed work trip. I stared at the receipt, my pulse steady, but my mind racing. I didn't confront him. I didn't speak. I zipped the bag shut, as if nothing had changed. But everything had. I wasn't ready to act, but I was done ignoring. I started planning. No accusations, no questions, just answers. They thought they were clever, leaving breadcrumbs without consequence. But they underestimated me, a woman who truly sees Mrs. Nothing. That night, Daniel slept soundly, oblivious. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, carrying a weight I couldn't ignore. When his breathing deepened, I slipped out of bed. His phone was in its usual spot, charging in the nightstand drawer, left carelessly, as if he thought I'd never look. My hands were steady as I unlocked it, no passcode, of course. His trust was his shield. Inside, his chats with Sophia were laid bare. It started innocently memes, light banter, emojis. But further down, the truth unraveled. Messages like, "She's still clueless. Same sweet next week. And she mentioned you today. I nearly lost it laughing." They mocked me, planned trysts while I cooked for him, and listened to her. It wasn't just infidelity. It was a shared betrayal, a conspiracy of ridicule. I snapped photos of every message, names, dates, times. Evidence secured. The next day, I told Daniel I was running errands. He nodded, barely looking up from his coffee. But I wasn't shopping. I was at Sophia's husband, Marcus, ringing his bell. He answered, disheveled, surprised. "Alina, everything okay?" "No," I said. "I need to show you something." We sat in his living room. I declined his offer of water and slid my phone across the table. "It's about Sophia and Daniel." He frowned, confused. I let the screenshots speak. He swiped through them, his face shifting from shock to revulsion to fury. This is real," his voice cracked. "Real, ongoing, deliberate," I replied. He clenched his jaw, eyes shut. "What's your plan?" "I'm figuring it out, but I won't let this slide." A heavy silence settled, not awkward, but purposeful. "They deserve a taste of their own game," he said. "The shock, the humiliation, all of it." "Exactly," I agreed. No contract was needed, just a shared resolve. "Will you help?" He met my gaze, resolute. "Let's bury them, smartly, with proof." Our anger wasn't loud, it was calculated, the kind that strategizes. They thought they were outsmarting fools. But the real game starts when the pawns move quietly. That morning, I went through my routine. Shower, breakfast, small talk with Daniel. He mentioned a packed day of meetings, grabbed his briefcase, and left like the picture of composure. 5 minutes later, Marcus slipped in through the back door. We positioned ourselves, him in the den, me upstairs. The plan was straightforward. Wait. The afternoon dragged, each tick of the clock deliberate. At 4:08 p.m., keys jingled. "Lock the door," Sophia's voice purred, followed by stifled giggles and murmurs. Footsteps climbed the stairs, like they were starring in a low-budget romance. The bedroom door swung open. Sophia entered, joking about how the evening light spruced up the room. Then she saw me, standing with arms folded. Marcus stepped into the doorway behind her. Her smugness melted away, her face pale. Daniel rushed in, then froze. Weren't you out?" "Changed my plans," I said. "Seems I'm not the only one who got off early." He stammered. "We need to talk." "This is too late," I cut in. Fitting, though, that Marcus took the afternoon off too. Funny how betrayers sync up better than the betrayed. They stood speechless. I pressed on. "You staged this like a soap opera, sneaking into my house, my bedroom, like I'm just decor. Well, here we are, all together in perfect lighting, as Sophia prefers." Sophia clutched her purse like a lifeline. Daniel's voice broke. "It was a mistake." "No," I snapped. "A mistake is grabbing the wrong coffee order. This was intentional, a scheme, a punchline with a calendar. The silence was suffocating. I went for the kill. We're done, Daniel. I'm divorcing you. Take her, share a motel, a bed, whatever, but you're taking nothing from here. Marcus spoke up. And you, Sophia, can crawl back to your parents. I'm done with you, this charade, everything. Sophia's tears fell, but the show was over. In the days that followed, the neighborhood buzzed quietly. No drama, just the kind of hush that speaks louder than shouts. Daniel slunk to his parents' house that night, met with his mother's stern glare and his father's silence. Sleep here, but fix your mess tomorrow, she said. By morning, he was at his brother Leo's, crashing on a couch. Leo, ever the joker, greeted him with, "Welcome to the Hall of Fame, cheaters and couch surfers. Got any pride left, or is that gone too?" Daniel stayed quiet, living off scraps of goodwill, his reputation unraveling. At work, whispers spread. Toledo's a small world, and respect vanishes fast when the truth slips out. Sophia vanished from the neighborhood. She tried to play it cool for a day or two, but doors stopped opening for her. Neighbors ignored her texts. Someone said she planned a dinner to explain, but no one showed. Jobless and humbled, she retreated to her parents' house, arriving with suitcases and a broken facade. They trapped me, she told her mom, but she'd built her own cage. Daniel texted me on day 3, then sent desperate messages. "You're wrong," morphing into "we can fix this." Classic deflection, dodging accountability. I didn't reply. Marcus said Sophia tried contacting him, pinning it on Daniel, claiming she was swayed. He listened, then said, "Swayed? With your knack for secrets. If that's true, you're the slickest puppet around." She never called again. Marcus and I moved forward, separately. We met once to tie up loose ends, a brief, respectful exchange, no pretense of friendship. We'd shared enough. Now, I brew my coffee and answer to no one. I don't make excuses for absences or fill silences. What I gained wasn't loneliness, it was freedom. They gambled everything on a fleeting thrill and lost it all. I shed what no longer served me. Victory was never sweeter. Alina rose, and the betrayers reaped their harvest. If you enjoyed this tale, follow for more and stay tuned. There's plenty more to come.